Okay. Um, so I've made a lot of content about this on this channel before just because when I found the show Felicity, to me, it really changed my perspective about a lot. It definitely encouraged me to journal more and to really like find a community. And sometimes your community can start with just one person. Like, your community doesn't have to be very large. If you find one YouTuber that you like, that's something about the space feels safe, comment on their channel and say like, you are the YouTuber who makes me feel safe. This is what I find impactful about your story. Like, you can actually do that. Like when Felicity is a show that was created in the 80s, 1980s. There was no YouTube. There wasn't Reddit. You couldn't just go on the internet and find other people to make content and to talk about real issues impacting women. The reason, and I feel like I've learned this just very recently, the reason that we actually need a women's studies department and we have gender studies is because the plight of women, this is all women, but especially like American women. I mean, if we were to actually have like a women's studies in like Africa or something, it would just be horrific, right? Like the plight of women in the developing world is just stories that are completely miserable. Like, it, you might prefer death, and a lot of people just actually do commit suicide. So obviously, dead people don't tell stories, but there's a lot of trauma, right, that is carried on for generations from a lot of that pain and agony. And a lot of those women don't have the emotional capacity to kind of talk about their feelings, to recognize that something did go wrong, and they want and need to heal from it. Instead, they just like bottle up the trauma and then they just kind of like move forward like soldiers. I am nobody's soldier. Um, I am just a human woman, a human black woman living in America. Okay, I live in a real state, I have a real address. I have real feelings about shit, and like with the emotional capacity and emotional intelligence that I have like today, like right now, I'm doing the best that I can. But there have been some situations, like I would say like 3 years ago, where I was put in positions to sort of deal with an immense amount of like not just emotional trauma, but really like societal trauma that no, I didn't see anyone who had any answers to it. Now, today in 2022, as the year of 2022 is ending, we literally have a California reparations bill where black Americans are going to get reparations next year. We have so many people talking about intersectionality. We have tons of black women with podcasts who are talking about therapy and mental health in a very real way for maybe the first time ever, okay? And then we just have all of these aspects of society that are hitting kind of like a clash where we realize like there are these like pockets of society and actions have equal and opposite reactions. Like sometimes you don't see it because you're shielded from it, and so you just believe that like everything is okay. That isn't necessarily the case. That isn't actually usually the case. Like typically something awful happens and maybe you learn about it because you watch the news. There's a million different news segments, right? So whatever news that you are watching, you watch the news and now it's like, huh, well, now I've learned about this thing because I watch the news. But okay, so what if I don't watch the news? Then I don't even know what you're talking about. All I have is my worldview. Now, I will say that if you are in a place of recovery, you can't watch the news. Girl, you're not ready to watch the news yet. You need to be watching videos about people who are in their therapists talking about trauma or whatever it is that you're going through. You need to watch that. You need to watch happy people who are stable. Hopefully, the people look like you in some way. I would encourage you to check out. So maybe I'll make a playlist of like revitalization tracks that have helped me get through things. Actually, I would encourage you to just go through Adele's entire repertoire, like her Adele and Billie Eilish and just sing, and Taylor Swift, even just sing along. Just sing along, even if you don't know. And Paramore, um, Haley Williams. Okay, these women have processed all the feelings already. So you don't have to do all the hard labor of trying to like find the words. You can watch the videos and kind of start to understand. Don't watch them just once, watch them twice. Or shows like Felicity that unpack going from unknown to kind of knowing to kind of theorizing to kind of experiencing to really difficult relationships to not so like all of these emotions that you might go through as like a person, a woman in the world. Okay.